As the video begins, the gentle rustle of oak leaves and distant hoot of an owl fill the audio, creating a serene forest nightscape. The camera pans over a moonlit glade, fireflies dancing above a moss-covered stone circle. A soft, rhythmic narration begins, introducing the concept of Satan, not as a fearsome figure, but as a misunderstood symbol rooted in ancient languages and spiritual traditions. The forest at night is a place of mystery, where every sound seems to carry a hidden message. The slow, moving camera captures the play of light and shadow, the silvery glow of the moon filtering through the canopy of trees, and the gentle sway of ferns in the underbrush. It's a setting that invites the viewer to relax, to let go of the stresses of the day, and to open their mind to the ancient stories about to be told. Drawing from early religious texts, this segment explains the term Satan, meaning the accuser or the adversary in Hebrew scripture. It describes how, in Jewish tradition, Satan initially served as a divine prosecutor, testing humanity's faith rather than opposing God outright. The narrative contrasts this role with later, more menacing portrayals, using calm, reassuring language to separate myth from fear. In the Hebrew Bible, Satan appears in stories like the Book of Job. He challenges God, suggesting that Job's faithfulness is only due to his prosperous life. God allows Satan to test Job, but with limits. This shows that, in the original context, Satan was acting within a divinely ordained framework, not as an all-powerful, evil force bent on the destruction of the world. We'll explore how this concept evolved over time, influenced by different cultures and interpretations. The background blends crickets chirping, a light breeze through pine needles, and the faint trickle of a nearby stream. The narrator's voice remains low and steady, guiding viewers to focus on the story's rhythmic flow and the soothing natural sounds, encouraging muscle relaxation and mental calm. As you listen to the crickets, imagine their chirping as a gentle lullaby. Let the sound of the breeze through the pine needles be like a soft hand, gently stroking your forehead. The trickle of the stream is a reminder of the continuous flow of life, always moving, always soothing. With each breath, feel your muscles relax, starting from your toes and working your way up to the top of your head. As you focus on the story of the origin of Satan, let the forest sounds wash over you, carrying you towards a peaceful sleep. As the soft glow of fireflies in the forest glade begins to dim, the camera slowly pans to a moss-covered tree trunk. The ambient sounds of the forest shift subtly. The cricket's chirping becomes a bit more subdued, replaced by the slow, gentle drip of water from the leaves after a recent, unseen rain. The narrator's voice, still calm and measured, seamlessly leads the viewers from the Hebrew origins of Satan, into the Christian reinterpretation of the figure. In this section, the story delves into the iconic biblical account of the Garden of Eden. The narrator describes the idyllic paradise, painting a vivid picture of lush foliage, singing birds, and a gentle stream meandering through the garden. Amidst this perfection, the serpent, often associated with Satan in Christian exegesis, appears. Instead of portraying the serpent as a malevolent force right away, the narrative focuses on the curiosity it stirs within Eve. The dialogue between the serpent and Eve is recounted in a soft, almost contemplative manner. The serpent's words, "You will not surely die," For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil, are spoken with a slow cadence, emphasizing the allure of knowledge and the idea of questioning authority. This portrayal aims to show how the concept of temptation, rather than pure evil, was the initial spark in the story. The soundscape during this retelling includes the occasional coo of a dove, the soft flutter of wings, and the rustling of leaves as Eve reaches for the forbidden fruit. These sounds create a sense of anticipation and suspense, but in a gentle, non-threatening way that doesn't disrupt the overall calming atmosphere. After the fateful act of eating the fruit, the narrative describes the consequences that follow. The once perfect garden begins to show signs of change. The stream's flow becomes a bit more erratic, and the birdsong takes on a slightly more somber tone. God's reaction and the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the garden are recounted with a sense of inevitability and sadness, rather than anger and punishment. As for the serpent, the cursed upon it marks a significant turning point in its portrayal. The narrator explains how, over time, this cursed serpent came to be identified with Satan, evolving from a simple tempter into a more malevolent, adversarial figure. The transformation is explored in a way that emphasizes the gradual nature of the shift in perception, influenced by centuries of religious interpretation and cultural storytelling. This part further delves into how Satan's image continued to develop within Christian theology. References are made to other biblical passages, such as the book of Job, where Satan challenges God's faith in Job's righteousness. The narrator points out that even in this story, Satan is still operating within the bounds of God's authority, albeit in a challenging manner. As the narrative progresses, the concept of Satan as the ruler of hell and the leader of fallen angels begins to emerge. The development of these ideas is traced through different periods of Christian history, from the early church fathers to the Middle Ages. The explanation is kept simple and uncomplicated, avoiding overly complex theological debates, so as not to disrupt the relaxing mood of the video. As the section nears its end, the camera pans back out to the forest glade, now bathed in a slightly different, more silvery moonlight. The sounds of the forest resume their normal rhythm, with the crickets once again chirping softly and the occasional hoot of an owl in the distance. The narrator's voice gently reminds the viewers that these ancient stories, while often filled with powerful imagery, are part of humanity's ongoing exploration of good and evil, temptation and choice. The final words of the section encourage the viewers to let go of any lingering thoughts, to sink deeper into relaxation, and to carry the peaceful narrative with them as they drift towards sleep, ready to explore more of Satan's origin story in the next part. As the camera lingers on the forest glade, a soft, cool breeze rustles the branches above, creating a rhythmic, shushing sound that seems to carry the remnants of the previous stories. The moonlight filters through the swaying leaves, casting shifting patterns on the forest floor. The narrator's voice, still a gentle whisper, eases the viewers into this new chapter, where the image of Satan transcends religious texts and seeps into the rich tapestry of human folklore and literature. This segment begins by exploring the various depictions of Satan in European folklore. The narrator paints a picture of medieval villages where stories of the devil were shared around crackling hearths on cold winter nights. In German folklore, the concept of the Teufel is introduced, often portrayed as a mischievous trickster who might lead travelers astray with false lights in the forest, known as Will-O, the Wisps. The description of these stories is filled with details of the dark, misty woods, the howling of distant wolves, and the creaking of old wooden cabins, all of which are accompanied by corresponding ambient forest sounds in the background. In French folklore, tales of the devil making deals with desperate souls are recounted. The story of a poor farmer who, in a moment of despair, sells his soul in exchange for prosperity is told with a slow, deliberate pace. The narrator emphasizes the moral dilemmas and the allure of quick fixes, rather than focusing on the terrifying aspects of the devil. The soundscape includes the plodding footsteps of the farmer through the muddy fields, the creaking of his rickety cart, and the soft sighs of the wind, enhancing the sense of melancholy and longing. The narrative then gracefully transitions to the portrayal of Satan. In classic literature, John Milton's Paradise Lost is the first work to be explored. The narrator describes how Milton humanized Satan, giving him complex emotions and a sense of pride. Lines from the epic poem, such as "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven," are recited in a measured tone, highlighting Satan's defiance and his tragic fall from grace. The accompanying sounds include the distant roll of thunder, as if echoing the great battle between heaven and hell, and the fluttering of wings, evoking the image of the fallen angels. Next, the story delves into Goethe's Faust, where the devil, Mephistopheles, is depicted as a suave and charming tempter. The interaction between Faust and Mephistopheles is described in detail, with the narrator emphasizing the intellectual and philosophical debates that unfold between them. The sounds of a crackling fireplace, the turning of old book pages, and the soft clinking of glasses during their conversations add to the immersive experience, making the viewers feel as if they are eavesdropping on this fateful encounter. This part of the script reflects on how these folklore tales and literary works have influenced the popular perception of Satan. The narrator explains that these stories often serve as cautionary tales, warning of the dangers of greed, pride, and the pursuit of easy power. Instead of instilling fear, they encourage self-reflection and an understanding of human nature's darker impulses. As the section nears its end, the camera pans to a small clearing where a single, glowing lantern hangs from a tree branch, casting a warm, inviting light. The forest sounds soften with the gentle chirping of insects and the distant murmur of a hidden brook taking center stage. The narrator's final words invite the viewers to let go of their waking thoughts, to embrace the tranquility of the forest night, and to carry the enchanting stories of Satan's presence in folklore and literature with them into a peaceful slumber, ready to uncover more layers of this fascinating narrative in the next part. As the camera lingers on the softly lit clearing, the lantern's flame gently flickers, casting dancing shadows on the surrounding trees. The ambient forest sounds remain soft and rhythmic, with the occasional hoot of an owl in the distance. The narrator's voice, a comforting murmur, begins to guide viewers into the realm where Satan's image is painted with a broader brush, finding expression in the world of art and modern pop culture. The segment commences by delving into the portrayal of Satan in classical art. The narrator describes the vivid and dramatic works of painters like Hieronymus Bosch. His triptych, The Garden of Earthly Delights, is explored in detail, with the narrator carefully guiding the viewers through the chaotic and fantastical scenes of hell depicted in the right panel. The grotesque creatures, the writhing figures, and the fiery landscapes are described in a calm and measured tone, emphasizing the artist's use of symbolism to convey moral and spiritual concepts rather than inciting fear. The background sounds include the soft crackling of the lantern flame, mimicking the imagined fires of hell in the artwork. Moving on to the works of Peter Bruegel the Elder, the narrator discusses paintings such as The Fall of the Rebel Angels. The grand scale and dynamic composition of the piece are highlighted, along with how Bruegel used color and form to depict the epic battle between good and evil. The sounds of flapping wings, distant shouts, and the clashing of imaginary weapons are added to the audio, creating a sense of movement and drama, yet still maintaining a peaceful, almost dreamlike quality. The narrative then smoothly transitions to the modern era, exploring how Satan is depicted in visual media. In movies, the portrayal of the devil has taken on various forms. The narrator mentions iconic films like The Exorcist, but instead of focusing on the terrifying aspects, the emphasis is placed on how the character of Satan is used to explore themes of faith, doubt, and the human struggle against inner demons. The sounds of creaking doors, soft footsteps in empty hallways, and the distant rumble of thunder are incorporated, evoking the eerie atmosphere of the movie while keeping the overall mood soothing. For television, shows such as Lucifer are discussed. The series reimagines the devil as a charming and conflicted character who abandons his role in hell to live among humans in Los Angeles. The narrator analyzes how this modern take on Satan challenges traditional perceptions and adds depth to the character. The background audio includes the gentle hum of city streets, the clinking of glasses in a bar, and the soft jazz music that often accompanies scenes in the show, creating a relaxed and engaging ambience. The final part of this section delves into Satan's influence on music and other aspects of popular culture. In heavy metal music, the devil has often been a recurring theme. Bands like Black Sabbath and Metallica are mentioned, and the narrator explains how their use of satanic imagery is not always about promoting evil, but rather about exploring darker aspects of human existence, rebellion, and the search for meaning. The sounds of guitar riffs, drum beats, and the echoey howl of a singer's voice are included, but softened and blended with the forest sounds to maintain the calming effect. In video games, titles like Diablo are explored. The game's depiction of hell and its demonic inhabitants is analyzed in terms of its intricate world building and storytelling. The narrator describes the immersive gameplay experience, and the audio includes the ambient sounds of the game's dark dungeons, the growl of monsters, and the soft tinkling of magical spells, all mixed with the peaceful forest noises to create a harmonious blend. As the section comes to an end, the camera pans up to the starry sky above the forest. The lantern's light fades, and the forest sounds return to their gentle, natural rhythm. The narrator's final words encourage the viewers to let go of the day's thoughts, to embrace the tranquility of the night, and to carry the diverse images of Satan in art and pop culture. with them into a restful sleep, anticipating the next chapter of this captivating exploration. As the camera slowly pans back to the forest floor, a layer of soft mist begins to roll in, partially obscuring the tree roots and fallen leaves. The gentle trickle of a hidden brook grows a bit louder, accompanied by the faint chirping of nocturnal insects. The narrator's voice, as tranquil as ever, leads the viewers into an exploration of how Satan's image varies across different cultures around the world, and how these diverse interpretations intersect and blend. This segment starts by delving into the portrayal of Iblis, the figure often equated with Satan in Islamic teachings. The narrator describes how Iblis was originally an angel, but refused to bow down to Adam when commanded by God, leading to his expulsion. Unlike the Christian concept of Satan as a direct opponent of God, Iblis is seen as a tempter who tries to lead humans astray, testing their faith. The narrative emphasizes the idea of free will and the importance of making the right choices in the face of temptation. The background soundscape includes the soft recitation of Quranic verses in the distance, the gentle flapping of birds' wings as they glide through the misty forest, and the soft padding of a small animal moving through the underbrush. These sounds create a serene and contemplative atmosphere, inviting viewers to reflect on the similarities and differences between Islamic and other traditions. The narrative then gracefully transitions to explore how concepts similar to Satan appear in Eastern religions and philosophies. In Hinduism, the idea of asuras, powerful demons who oppose the gods, is introduced. The asuras are not purely evil, but rather represent forces of chaos and opposition. The story of the churning of the ocean, where the asuras and devas, gods, compete for the nectar of immortality, is recounted in a slow, rhythmic manner. The sounds of temple bells, the chanting of mantras, and the soft rustling of silk robes add to the immersive experience, transporting viewers to the heart of ancient Hindu mythology. In Buddhism, the concept of Mara, the tempter who tries to hinder the Buddha's enlightenment, is explored. The narrator explains how Mara represents the distractions and desires that prevent individuals from achieving spiritual awakening. The sounds of monks' meditation bells, the gentle flow of a hidden waterfall, and the soft cooing of doves in the forest enhance the sense of peace and introspection. This part of the script reflects on how, through history, different cultures have interacted and influenced one another, leading to the blending of ideas about Satan or similar figures. The narrator gives examples of how colonialism, trade, and migration have resulted in the syncretism of religious beliefs. For instance, in some Latin American cultures, Catholic ideas about the devil have blended with indigenous beliefs, creating unique and hybridized depictions. The audio during this reflection includes the soft creaking of an old wooden bridge over the brook, the distant calls of migrating birds, and the faint murmur of a far-off village, symbolizing the interconnectedness of different cultures and the exchange of ideas. As the section nears its end, the mist begins to clear, and the moon shines a bit brighter through the trees. The camera focuses on a patch of wildflowers that have bloomed under the moonlight. The narrator's final words invite the viewers to embrace the diversity of these global perspectives, to let go of any preconceived notions, and to drift off into a peaceful sleep, surrounded by the gentle sounds of the forest and the rich tapestry of stories about Satan's place in different cultures. As the camera lingers on the wildflowers bathed in moonlight, the forest around them seems to hold its breath. The soft gurgle of the brook fades into a gentle hum, and the rustling of leaves is replaced by a profound stillness, as if the woods itself is inviting viewers to peer into the depths of the mind. The narrator's voice, a soothing whisper, begins to guide the audience from the diverse cultural interpretations of Satan into the realm of psychology, where the figure takes on a new, introspective form. This segment commences by introducing the renowned Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and his groundbreaking theory of the shadow. The narrator explains that, according to Jung, the shadow is an unconscious aspect of the psyche that contains all the qualities we repress, deny, or find unacceptable in ourselves, such as anger, envy, and aggression. These qualities are often projected onto external figures, and in many religious and mythological traditions, Satan serves as a powerful symbol of this shadow. The background soundscape includes the slow ticking of an old clock, reminiscent of the passage of time in the exploration of the mind. The soft scratching of a pen on paper, as if someone is jotting down deep thoughts, is also added, creating an atmosphere of intellectual curiosity. The narrator delves into examples from Jung's own work, describing how individuals may unconsciously project their shadow qualities onto others, or even onto the concept of Satan, as a way to distance themselves from these uncomfortable aspects of their own nature. Building on Jung's ideas, the narrative explores how Satan can be seen as a representation of the inner conflicts that plague human beings. The narrator uses gentle, relatable language to describe the daily struggles between our desires, our moral values, and our sense of self. For instance, the temptation to take the easy way out, to give into laziness or greed, can be seen as a modern-day equivalent of the biblical temptations by Satan. The audio during this exploration features the sound of gentle rain pattering on the forest canopy, a metaphor for the emotional storms that rage within us. The distant howl of a lone wolf, which can evoke feelings of loneliness and isolation, is also incorporated, reflecting the internal battles we often face alone. The narrator encourages viewers to reflect on their own inner conflicts, suggesting that understanding the symbolic role of Satan in this context can lead to greater self-awareness and personal growth. This part of the script delves into the idea that rather than simply rejecting or fearing the shadow, there is value in acknowledging and integrating it. The narrator compares this process to the alchemical concept of transformation, where base metals are turned into gold. In the same way, by facing our shadow selves, we can transform our negative qualities into sources of strength and creativity. The narrative draws on examples from literature and film where characters undergo a journey of self-discovery, coming to terms with their darker aspects. The sounds of a crackling campfire, the sharing of stories, and the soft laughter of friends are added to the audio, creating a sense of warmth and community, as if the viewers are part of a collective exploration of the human psyche. The narrator emphasizes that the figure of Satan, when seen as a psychological archetype, can serve as a guide on this journey of self, acceptance, and redemption. As the section nears its end, the camera pans out to reveal the vastness of the forest its dark recesses filled with mystery. The narrator draws a parallel between the forest and the unconscious mind, both of which are filled with hidden paths, unknown creatures, and untapped potential. The sounds of the forest come alive again, with the hoot of an owl, the flutter of bats' wings, and the rustling of small animals in the underbrush, symbolizing the rich and complex nature of the unconscious. The final words of the narrator invite the viewers to embrace the exploration of their own minds, to see the figure of Satan not as a terrifying external entity, but as a reflection of their own inner landscape. As the soft glow of the moon continues to illuminate the forest, the viewers are encouraged to let go of their worries, to sink into a peaceful sleep, and to carry the insights from this psychological exploration with them into the realm of dreams. As the gentle glow of the moon continues to illuminate the forest, the sounds of nocturnal life begin to shift. The hoots of owls echo a bit louder, and the rustling of leaves takes on a slightly more urgent rhythm, as if the forest itself is attuned to the changes and debates of the modern world. The narrator's voice, still a calming presence, ushers the viewers into an exploration of how Satan's image and concept have adapted and sparked controversy in contemporary society. The segment starts by delving into the phenomenon known as satanic panic. The narrator recounts the waves of hysteria swept through Western societies in the 1980s, the 1980s, in the 1990s, fueled by unfounded rumors of satanic cults engaging in ritual abuse and other heinous acts. Using a measured and empathetic tone, the narrative explores how these fears were often based on misinformation, mass media sensationalism, and a lack of understanding of alternative subcultures. The background soundscape includes the crackling of old radio broadcasts, snippets of news reports filled with alarmist tones, and the hushed whispers of concerned neighbors, creating an atmosphere that captures the paranoia of the time. The narrator reflects on how the idea of Satan was weaponized during this period, becoming a symbol of all that was perceived as dangerous and threatening in a rapidly changing world. Moving beyond the panic, the script then turns to the modern practice of Satanism as a legitimate subculture. The narrator introduces the Church of Satan, founded by Anton LaVey in 1966, and explains its core tenets, which emphasize individualism, rationalism, and the rejection of traditional religious dogma. Instead of depicting Satan as a literal evil entity, LaVeyan Satanism views Satan as a symbol of pride, freedom, and rebellion against oppression. The audio during this exploration features the sounds of a bustling city street, the clinking of glasses in a trendy bar, and the low, key music that might be heard at a satanic gathering, reflecting the modern and secular nature of the subculture. The narrator interviews real-life Satanists in a voice, acted, respectful-mannered, sharing their stories of finding community and empowerment within the movement, challenging the stereotypes associated with the term Satanism. The narrative then delves into how the concept of Satan is often invoked in political and social debates, from politicians labeling their opponents as agents of the devil, to social media discussions where divisive figures are demonized. The narrator analyzes how the image of Satan is used as a rhetorical tool to dehumanize and marginalize others. The background sounds include the chatter of a political rally, the clicking of keyboards as people engage in heated online arguments, and the sound of newspaper pages being turned, highlighting the prevalence of this symbolic use in public discourse. The narrator encourages viewers to think critically about these uses of the satanic imagery, asking them to consider how such language can contribute to polarization and the erosion of civil discourse. By understanding the symbolic power of Satan in these contexts, the audience is invited to approach these debates with more empathy and rationality. As the section nears its end, the camera pans to a secluded pond in the forest, its surface reflecting the moonlight and the surrounding trees. The sounds of the forest gradually soften, with only the gentle lapping of water against the shore and the distant chirping of crickets remaining. The narrator's final words invite the viewers to reflect on the complex role of Satan in the modern world. Rather than being a source of fear or a simplistic symbol of evil, Satan has become a multi-faceted figure that mirrors the complexities of human society, from our fears and prejudices to our desires for freedom and self-expression. As the viewers are lulled into a state of relaxation, they are encouraged to carry these thoughts with them, allowing the peaceful sounds of the forest to guide them into a restful sleep, ready to continue exploring the many dimensions of Satan's story in the next part. As the camera lingers on the secluded pond in the forest, a faint breeze sweeps across its surface, creating ripples that distort the reflection of the moon and trees. The soft lapping of water against the shore intensifies slightly, and the distant chirping of crickets is joined by the occasional croak of a frog. The narrator's voice, a comforting murmur, gently leads the viewers from the modern day discussions of Satan into a deeper exploration of how the figure has intertwined with the development of human civilization throughout history. This segment begins by positing that the concept of Satan, or figures like him, has often served as a catalyst for change within human societies. The narrator points out that in many religious and philosophical traditions, the presence of an opposing force has been used to define and strengthen the values of the community. For example, the stories of Satan's temptations in the Abrahamic religions have led to the development of moral codes and ethical guidelines, pushing individuals and societies to strive for righteousness. The background soundscape includes the sound of ancient scrolls being unrolled, the chanting of monks in a distant monastery, and the rhythmic beating of drums in a tribal ceremony. These sounds evoke the sense of different civilizations grappling with the concepts of good and evil, using the idea of Satan as a means to understand and shape their values. The narrator discusses how these moral frameworks have, in turn, influenced everything from laws and governance to art and literature, demonstrating the far-reaching impact of this symbolic figure. The narrative then gracefully transitions to the Age of Enlightenment, a period when reason and science began to challenge traditional religious beliefs. The narrator explains how the figure of Satan became a focal point in the debates between faith and rationality. Philosophers and thinkers of the time questioned the existence of a literal Satan, instead seeing the concept as a metaphor for the darker aspects of human nature or the unknown forces of the universe. The audio during this exploration features the scratching of quills on parchment, the discussions of scholars in a bustling university hall, and the soft ticking of a clock, symbolizing the passage of time and the advancement of human thought. The narrator explores how these intellectual shifts led to new interpretations of Satan in literature and art, with works like Goethe's Faust embodying the struggle between reason and temptation in the modern era. This part of the script delves into how the image of Satan has inspired human creativity across various disciplines. In music, composers have used themes related to the devil to create powerful and dramatic works, from the operatic depictions of Mephistopheles to the heavy metal anthems that explore themes of rebellion and darkness. In visual arts, painters have used the figure of Satan to express complex emotions and ideas, such as the fear of the unknown or the allure of forbidden knowledge. The background sounds include the soaring melodies of classical music, the strokes of a paintbrush on canvas, and the excited chatter of art enthusiasts in a gallery. The narrator interviews artists and musicians Zickles in a voice-acted, respectful manner, sharing their insights on how the concept of Satan has served as a wellspring of inspiration for their work, challenging them to push the boundaries of their creativity. As the section nears its end, the camera pans back to the expansive forest, its ancient trees standing as silent witnesses to the ebb and flow of human civilization. The sounds of the forest blend with the faint echoes of the historical and cultural discussions, creating a harmonious symphony of past and present. The narrator's final words invite the viewers to contemplate the profound role that the figure of Satan has played in humanity's journey of self-discovery and growth. Rather than being a static symbol, Satan has evolved alongside human civilization, reflecting our changing values, beliefs, and aspirations. As the viewers are lulled into a deeper state of relaxation, they are encouraged to carry these thoughts with them, allowing the peaceful sounds of the forest to guide them into a restful slumber, ready to continue exploring the final chapters of this fascinating story. As the camera slowly pans away from the ancient forest, the moon casts an even more ethereal glow over the landscape. The soft rustling of leaves is accompanied by the distant hoots of owls, creating a mysterious yet calming ambience. The narrator's voice, like a gentle guide, begins to lead the viewers into the profound world of philosophy and ethics, where the concept of Satan has long been a subject of contemplation. This segment delves into one of the most enduring philosophical questions, the problem of evil. The narrator explains how the presence of a figure like Satan has been used as an argument both for and against the existence of a benevolent God. In theistic traditions, Satan is often seen as the source of evil in the world, allowing for the reconciliation of a loving God with the suffering and injustice that humanity experiences. Philosophers such as Augustine of Hippo proposed the idea that evil is not a positive entity, but rather a privation of good, with Satan representing the ultimate example of this deviation from the divine. The background soundscape includes the soft crackling of a distant bonfire, the whispering of sages in ancient academies, and the gentle lapping of water against a rocky shore. These sounds evoke the atmosphere of philosophical debates that have spanned centuries. The narrator explores counter-arguments from atheists and agnostics who question how an all-powerful and all-good God could allow the existence of a malevolent force like Satan, or the prevalence of evil in the world. Through this exploration, the viewers are invited to grapple with these complex questions in a peaceful and reflective manner. The narrative then gracefully shifts to the concept of free will and its connection to Satan. The narrator discusses how in many religious and philosophical frameworks, Satan's role as a tempter is closely tied to the idea of human freedom. When Adam and Eve were tempted in the Garden of Eden, it was their choice to disobey God that led to the fall of humanity. This story has been interpreted as a testament to the importance of free will, as well as the consequences of our choices. The audio during this exploration features the sound of footsteps on a gravel path, symbolizing the journey of making decisions. The soft fluttering of butterflies' wings and the chirping of birds in the morning light are also included, creating a sense of hope and possibility that comes with the exercise of free will. The narrator further explores how philosophers like Immanuel Kant and Paul Sartre have incorporated ideas related to choice and responsibility into their ethical theories. Drawing parallels with the age-old narrative of Satan and temptation, this part of the script delves into how the image of Satan can be used to explore ethical dilemmas in modern life. The narrator presents scenarios where individuals are faced with difficult choices, such as the temptation to cheat for personal gain, or the decision to turn a blind eye to injustice. In these situations, the concept of Satan can serve as a symbolic reminder of the darker paths we might take if we give in to our baser instincts. The background sounds include the ticking of a clock, the sound of a busy city street, and the murmur of a crowded marketplace, reflecting the complex and often challenging environments in which we make ethical decisions. The narrator interviews ethicists in a voice-acted, respectful manner who share their insights on how understanding the symbolic power of Satan can help us navigate these moral crossroads more thoughtfully. As the section nears its end, the camera returns to the heart of the forest, where a single ray of moonlight filters through the trees, illuminating a moss-covered stone. The sounds of the forest grow softer, with only the gentle breathing of the wind and the occasional drip of water from a leaf remaining. The narrator's final words invite the viewers to carry the philosophical and ethical insights from this exploration with them. The figure of Satan, in all its complexity, serves as a mirror through which we can better understand ourselves, our choices, and the nature of good and evil. As the viewers are lulled into a state of deep relaxation, they are encouraged to let go of the day's worries and to embrace the peaceful night, ready to discover the final revelations in the next and final part of this enchanting tale. As the camera remains fixed on the moss-covered stone bathed in the moon's last rays, the forest holds its breath in a profound stillness. The gentle drip of water slows to a near halt, and the wind seems to whisper its final secrets before the coming dawn. The narrator's voice, a soft, comforting murmur, begins the final chapter of this exploration, inviting viewers to reflect on the journey they've undertaken through the multifaceted story of Satan. This segment reviews the rich tapestry of interpretations and narratives surrounding Satan that have been unfurled over the previous 9 parts. From the Hebrew, Satan, as an accuser within the divine order, to the complex psychological archetype in modern thought, the narrator ties together the diverse threads of this ancient figure's story. The background soundscape features the soft rustling of old parchment, as if the pages of history are being turned one last time. and the faint chime of a distant bell, marking the passage of our exploration. The narrator emphasizes how Satan's image has adapted and evolved with human culture, reflecting our changing values, beliefs, and fears. Whether serving as a cautionary tale in folklore, a source of inspiration in art, or a focal point for philosophical debates, the figure has remained a powerful symbol that continues to resonate with people across the globe. This part of the script encourages viewers to move beyond the traditional, often fearful, associations with Satan. Instead of seeing the figure as a literal embodiment of evil, the narrator suggests viewing it as a rich symbol that can offer profound insights into the human condition. The sounds of the forest begin to change, with the first faint chirps of early, rising birds breaking the silence, symbolizing the dawn of a new understanding. The narrative reflects on how the stories and interpretations of Satan can serve as mirrors, showing us our own capacity for temptation, creativity, and self-discovery. By embracing the complexity of this symbol, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the dualities within ourselves and the world around us. The constant interplay between light and dark, good and evil. As the section draws to a close, the camera pans upward to reveal the first hints of dawn breaking through the forest canopy. The sky gradually shifts from deep indigo to a soft pinkish orange, and the forest comes alive with the sounds of a new day. The songs of birds, the buzzing of insects, and the rustling of leaves in the growing breeze. The narrator's final words are a gentle invitation to carry the insights and reflections from this exploration into the waking world. The figure of Satan, with all its historical and cultural baggage, has been transformed through this journey into a source of contemplation and growth. The viewers are encouraged to let go of any lingering unease and to embrace the peace that comes with understanding. As the sun rises higher, casting a warm glow over the forest, the video fades to black, leaving the audience in a state of relaxation and introspection, ready to face the day with a new perspective.